Welcome to the semi-official guide for the Qu by Djupviks Electronic, an analog phaser unlike anything you've used before. In this video, we'll break down how phasers work, explore what makes the Qu special, and show you how to create incredible sounds with it. So a phaser creates that classic swirling whooshing sound by splitting your audio into two parts. One stays dry, while the other passes through multiple all-pass filters, shifting certain frequencies out of phase. When these signals recombine, they create deep notches in the sound spectrum. A low-frequency oscillator, or LFO, moves these notches over time, creating the signature sweeping effect that you can hear in the background. The more filter stages, the richer the phase effect. Now, unlike traditional phasers, the Qu is designed for deep modular exploration. While its phaser section takes inspiration from the legendary Lovetone Doppelganger pedal, it expands far beyond conventional phase shifting. Let's break down what makes the Qu unique. So firstly, like the Lovetone Doppelganger, the Qu is an optical phaser, which uses an LFO to modulate an LED, which in turn changes the resistance of light-dependent resistors, LDRs, in real time. Because LDRs respond unevenly to rising and fading light, the sweep becomes throbby and organic. Secondly, there's a high resonance feedback circuit, and this pushes the Qu into self-oscillation, allowing it to function as both as an effect and a standalone sound source as well. There's dual CV inputs with normalization. The left CV input is normal to the right, so if you only patch into one, it controls both modulation points. This adds quick and easy stereo-style movement or complex control with separate CV sources. There's also a distorted output option. The Qu includes a dedicated output buffer with diode clipping, adding a gritty, overdriven character. This lets you explore distorted phasing, wavefolding like artifacts, and raw, unpredictable textures. More on that later. There's a dry signal bypass switch. What removing the dry signal does from the circuit, it turns the Qu into a vibrato style effect. And in the Qu mode, it creates unusual glitchy behavior, warping the sound in unexpected ways. And finally, the Qu mode. This is a broken tracker noise circuit. Engaging the Qu mode activates a circuit based on an old LM567 telephone tracking chip, and now discontinued in IC, originally designed for dial-up signal tracking. This results in chaotic, broken tracking effects, sputtering distortions, and unpredictable noise textures. It transforms the Qu into something more than a phaser, blurring the line between modulation, synthesis, and pure sonic destruction. Now here's an important final note before we get to the patches. The Qu takes its name from the Q, a mysterious and technologically superior alien species from all tomorrows, a billion-year chronicle of the myriad species and mixed fortunes of man, a 2006 speculative evolution book by C.M. Kosemen, aka Nemo Ramjet. In the book, the Qu genetically manipulate and reshape human evolution over a billion-year timeline, leaving behind strange, unpredictable new life forms. This theme of transformation and radical reinvention mirrors the Q's approach to sound. It's not just a phaser, but an instrument capable of mutating and reshaping audio in extreme, unexpected ways. And adding to this connection, C.M. Koseman himself illustrated the front panel of the Qu, bringing his distinct artistic vision into the physical design of the module. Right, let's hear the Qu in action. So first up, let's set up a classic analog phaser sound. The raw sound you can hear is from my SH101 just off camera. We've got one LFO from Pam's Pro Workout just off screen going into the Q's phase shift CV input. We've set the rate low and CV attenuation at about 50% for a slow, dreamy sweep. Let's mix in the wet signal and you can hear that chewy, classic phaser sound. input 1 is normal to 2, but CV input 2 will have a much more pronounced effect. Let's add a second LFO from Tangram, not to be confused with its IntelliGel namesake, and mess around with the properties of that LFO. Audio rate modulation is what we're all here for, right? Yeah, let's go. Output from the insanely brilliant Bristol Bloodhound Mark II complex oscillator gets you that crunchy, wild sound. Modulate the VCO with an LFO from Tangram. This is why I love modular phasers. Not just beautiful, chewy, krautrock synth sounds, but also these wild, noisy artifacts. Great fun. Let's audio rate modulate the audio rate modulation. It's time, folks. Time to engage the Q. We've got a drone from the Bristol Bloodhound, and on it goes. There's a little reverb after the skiff here to etherealize the sound of it. And because I've got reverb, not talent, engaging the Q mode activates that old telephone tracking chip. The volume drops a little, but you can compensate for that. Just hear how wild that is. This is great fun to play with. Now let's explore some more chaotic rate modulation into the Q from Tangram. I've got some loops from the Djupviks lo-fi sampler beneath the bush of ghosts. This is a messed up sample, and the Q is providing even more messed uppiness. This patch features the distortion output that I mentioned. Here it is in action on a raw output from the Bristol Bloodhound oscillator. It's a dedicated output buffer with diode clipping, and I think the word is gritty. Let's engage the Q. That's fun. Octave delay in the background. Let's throw in some audio rate modulation. When you take that audio rate high, you almost get ring mod-like sounds. What I love about Djupviks modules is that they present so many different ways to degrade your sound. Play us out. We're going to create a rift in the space-time continuum by using two Djupviks favors in series with each other. So we've got the Neo Tokyo working here as well. Might be a follow-up video on that at some point too. Now I realised after recording this that I could have used these as a stereo effect, so I might try that one soon too. One for the next video. I sincerely hope you have enjoyed this walk around the Qu phaser from Djupviks. All we've really explored here are synth sounds. You could use it on drums, on more rich, complex audio. Now, this video is neither sponsored nor paid for, though Djupviks did help me out with a few ideas, and we've been back and forthing on the vid a little bit. There are tons of great phasers available in Euro. I love the recent Derp phase as well, the photo phasing. That's great fun as well. But the Qu is a Djupviks model. It takes the concept of a phaser and pushes it beyond where it's supposed to go. And hopefully I've shown you a little bit here of just how it can take pretty simple, uniform, raw audio and make it sound so much more interesting with so much more movement. There's a ton of vids on my Instagram and my YouTube featuring his other modules. So please do check him out, check those videos out, and follow him on Instagram and on YouTube where his handle's DETV. I will put the links in the description. Thanks for listening. See you next time.